I don't know if you've noticed, but tons of YouTube creators are quitting. They're making their final videos. My feed is just filled with them. People can't seem to grasp why this is happening. They have millions of subscribers. They're making tons of money from AdSense and their businesses, and yet they're still quitting. Unless you've been in their shoes, it's really hard to understand why. If you watch their final videos, they all say the same exact thing. At one point, it became a job. Content creation felt like I had to do it. I had to make this piece of content work. I had to upload, even though maybe I didn't have an idea, and it got overwhelming for them. There is one piece of advice that I've gotten as I started making content. This single piece of advice not only is the worst for creators, but it's also the reason why most of these people are actually quitting today. You see, there's two types of creators. There is the business creator who creates not for themselves, but to attract a certain audience. They make content for the audience so that way they can bring in money. On the flip side, you have the content creator, the person that creates for themselves, makes really good content, something that they would want to watch, and as a result, they attract their audience, which, by the way, brings in and attracts money. They all start at some point as a content creator and then graduate into business. I did the reverse. See, a few years ago when I started my business, everything was organic. I wasn't buying leads. I thought, what the best way to do this is through organic content creation. So I would make content for my audience so that way I could bring in leads and then make my money. Along the way, though, I started to hate that creation process. And along the way of hating it, and when I say hate, I mean I couldn't stand watching it. I didn't like it. I remember this piece of advice kept coming up again and again, and I started to repeat it to other people, which is, you are not your audience. The reason why people say it is because sometimes you get in your own head, right? As you're making content, you think, this is pointless, this is useless, no one can benefit from this, and as a result, you don't hit the publish button. And there's someone out there that probably could benefit from it. But the problem with this is, if you're creating for your audience and not yourself, eventually it gets tiresome and super boring. And for me, it did. I mean, I was putting out a piece of content every single day, and I think at this point, I had put up maybe 2,000 pieces of content across platforms. Every single one of them I refused to watch. Not because of just what I was saying, but like the editing was not good. It was that beastification thing that everyone does, and it looked and sounded like everybody else. It wasn't even the content that I even liked to watch, yet and still I was making it. So what happened? Eventually, I just stopped making that content. I didn't like it anymore, and I actually stopped making content altogether. That was until I found some really great creators here on YouTube making outstanding content. It was authentic. It was them, and they made mistakes. There wasn't over editing, and it just made sense. And the thing that I realized about them is that they made for themselves the content that they would like to see. And as a result, they would attract their ideal clients, and then eventually they would do businesses. The problem is, once you get to a certain level, you forget what got you to the dance. And that's what a lot of these people have done. They got so big that they ultimately had to hire teams and then become a CEO. And then eventually, they weren't really involved in the creation process at all. They were filming, maybe even scripting, but the editing, everything they loved about the process, they got rid of. And as a result, yeah, maybe they were making money, but then you started noticing their views go down. And the reason being is they just didn't enjoy the process anymore. They weren't in it. Like I said, the worst advice you could ever take as a content creator is that you are not your audience. I think that is utter bullshit. You see, the moment that I started to actually make for myself and actually make content that I would want to watch, people started enjoying my content more. I started getting more comments, more community around what I was building, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. It wasn't like everyone else and the Alex Hermosis and all of these other creators, and I think there is a place for that. It's just not with me. So why is everyone quitting YouTube? At some point, they all forgot what got them to the dance. Their biggest strength was creating, and they gave that to somebody else. They outsourced it just for the reason of they needed to run a team. If we learn anything from books like 10x Easier Than 2x, is the thing you outsource, the 80% that you give away, is not the thing that got you to the dance, is not the thing that makes you unique, the thing that you mastered. And in these people's cases, it's the content creation part. It's the thing that drove them and the thing that brought the audience to them in the first place. Never give that away. For me, I went from complete 180. I went from business creator to now I'm a content creator. I focus on the content first and the business comes second. Because I have a theory. I don't know if I'm going to be right, but my theory is this. If I make content that I would want to watch, that I focus on the craft of content creation, the business will take care of itself. That eventually I'll probably make more money than I did the other way. You know, the typical sitting in front of a desk saying, hey, there's 3 ways you can grow your business and you should do it with me, doesn't really jive anymore. So the next time you hear this piece of advice, you are not your audience, maybe take it with a grain of salt. Test it out. Create for you for a while. See what happens. Just make sure that you're constantly improving. Don't use it as a cop-out for why you don't create. For me, as I make content, if I enjoy it, if I'm willing to sit through it and watch it and I get something from it and I think it's entertaining, I'll hit the publish button. If I think it sucks, I'm not going to post it. I've done that for a while. Not only was I miserable, but honestly, I think I was making my audience miserable. But listen, at the end of the day, I don't know. What do you think? Hit me in the comments, go down below. Let me know what your thoughts are on this mass exodus of YouTube and also the common advice people give, which is you are not your audience. Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thank you for watching. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if this was valuable at all, and I'll catch you on the next video.